Have you seen those headlines before where it says the average American can't handle a $500 expense without going into debt? Or maybe you know someone that's never been able to retire. They're not going to be able to retire because they haven't saved enough throughout time towards their retirement. Today we're looking at how much money you need by different ages. Now, this is going to be personal. Just like personal finance, it's based on you. I realize that everyone starts in different places and in different situations. But I just want to say kudos to you because you're watching financial videos in your free time. First of all, that's huge because you are already doing more than 99% of the population. So kudos to you. I'm going to set the bar for what you should do. I'm going to set the bar and show you what CNBC says you should do. And I'm going to show you what the average American does. How much do we have for retirement savings? So we're going to take a look at all that. If you guys don't mind hitting the like button and subscribing down below, it really does help out the channel. So here's the average net worth by age of different groups. So this is going to be kind of interesting to take a look at the median versus the average. If you're under 35, the median net worth, so they have 5 different people. They cut off the bottom, the top, the next bottom, the next top, and the person in the middle has about $14,000 worth of net worth. When you go up to 35 to 44, it's 91,000, then it goes up to 168, 212, 266, and then 255. However, you move over to the average net worth, and you have 76,000, 435, 800, and then you have over 1 million. Now, why is the average so much higher? Well, have you ever heard that the average person in the world has 1 testicle? So this is kind of an interesting thing about averages, right? The people that are ultra high net worth individuals, the people that go and create Facebook and Google, those billionaires bring up the average. All the people that have very successful businesses and are doctors, they bring up the average. So the normal person has this amount, the average person has this amount. So it's kind of an interesting thing how that breaks down. Now, why do we even need retirement in the first place? Well, retirement savings we need because we don't have pensions anymore. It used to be that you go work at a job for 20, 30, 40 years, and then they would pay you a monthly income after that. Now we have something called Social Security, but a lot of us don't bank on the fact that that will be around by the time that we actually are retiring. So because of that, we need a net worth, we need retirement savings. So how much should you have saved up? Well, CNBC says by age 30, you should have the equivalent of your annual salary saved. So if you make $55,000, you should have $55,000. By age 40, 3 times your income. By age 50, 6 times your income. By age 60, 8 times your income. 67, 10 times your income. That's great. But if we assume Social Security isn't going to be there, that means that we only have 10 times our income. If you guys have ever heard of the 4% rule, it says that you should have about 25x your annual expenses in retirement savings. This is only 10x. So if we don't have Social Security or we want to retire early, we definitely need more than 10 times your savings. Now, I think this is actually a good place to start. By age 30, you should have your annual salary. I know for a lot of people, that's quite difficult. A lot of people are starting to save around my age, which is 25. Now, if you start at 25 and you go until you're 30, to have your annual salary, if you make $50,000 a year, you need to invest about $8,300, which is about $160 a month. That's actually a pretty large amount for a lot of people. That is almost 20% of your income. Now, I think that's a decent place to start, honestly, but I think we should actually focus on being higher than that over time. Now, if you're not in that situation now where you can do that, I totally understand. But as time goes on, hopefully you're grinding out and you're trying to get higher paying jobs, you're trying to make extra income, you're trying to cut expenses, and you can invest more of your income. That's where this comes really into play here. So this is Mr. Money Mustache. This is the shockingly simple math behind early retirement. Basically, depending on how much you get paid, you can calculate at that salary and at your current expense level how long it will take you to retire. So if you invest 20% of your income, it will take you about 37 years to retire. Now, they did assume only about a 5% rate of return, but this shows you that it will take a long time if you invest 20% of your income to retire. So right now, if you bump this up to 25%, it will take you a lot less time. And then as you go down the line, hopefully you can retire earlier and earlier. The interesting thing is where this comes into play. You can see this where if we invest $8,300 over 5 years, it's $50,000. If we invest a little bit more, 10,000, it's 60,000. So $10,000 difference doesn't seem like that much. But if you look down the line, if you are able to bump this up even more, so you get up to that 25% mark, so you're saving 25% of your income in retirement savings. You do this for 25 years. You're 25 years old now. You do this until you're 50. You're able to gain about $1.1 million worth of net worth, actually $1.06 million. Compare this to the first example where you only have about 1 million, but it takes you 4 years longer. So instead of 50, you're actually 54. Now, if you go a couple years down the line, that compounding interest really takes effect, where you're going to have a much larger gap. Here, if we went for 29 years instead of 25, we would have about $1.55 million worth, about $500,000 more. Now, I want you to really focus on your savings rate. That's something I think we all can do. If you're someone making $100,000 or $200,000, you should not be holding yourself to the same barrier, the same level as someone that's making $40,000. If you're making $100,000 and you're saving $10,000 compared to someone that lives on $40,000 and saving $10,000, you need to save a lot more, honestly. So you want to ramp up your savings rate. I really think everyone should shoot for this 25%. This ensures that you're able to retire early compared to your peers. And most likely, it'll be earlier than you think, because as time goes on, as you're able to actually increase your savings rate, you'll move up this ladder. Personally, I'm more down here. I want to save 70 to 80% of my income after tax. Now, this is not easy. I was not able to do anything close to this until this year. Before this, I lived at home and I was still maybe around the savings rate, but I was spending 90% less than I am now. Thing is, your income can scale over time. Now, where do you invest this though? That's great. You want to invest lots of money? Well, either pick individual stocks, which takes a good amount of time to make sure that you can pick good performing stocks, or you can pick index funds. You can decide that on your own time. You can decide whether you want to invest in index funds or general stocks or crypto or real estate. If you're looking at investing though, and you're looking at what kind of investment vehicles you want, I suggest using a 401k up to the company match. So a lot of the time, if you make, let's say $50,000 a year, your company says, hey, we'll match you 100% up to 4% of your salary. So you can take your salary times 4%, invest that every year, and they will actually match 100% of that, and they'll pay that. So it's free money essentially. Up until then, I would do the 401k match. And then after that, I might move over to something like a Roth IRA. If you think that you're going to get paid more in the future, then I would consider a Roth. Or if you are making a lot of money right now, let's say $150,000 or $200,000, but you're only spending $40,000 or $50,000, I might do a traditional IRA, because you would rather take the tax savings now when you're making a lot more than in the future when you're going to be making a lot less. So I would contribute to the max here, let's say $6,000. And then after that, I would consider an HSA. This is actually one of the best accounts that we have here in America. It's a tax advantage account where you put money in pre-tax, and then if you have any medical issues or if you have to pay for anything medically, you take it out pre-tax and you can invest it along the way. So unlike a Roth where you pay right up front, or traditional where you pay on the back end, if you're using it for your health, you can put money in there, invest it, and then take it out without having to pay taxes on it ever. And let's say you get 40 years in and you really didn't have any medical issues or anything that's expensive, although I think most of us will, like children or retirement costs, different surgeries and stuff like that. If you don't use it the whole time, you can take it out like a traditional account. You just pay taxes on it then, and you can use it for other things besides your health. Now, of course, I'm not a financial advisor, so do your research, but I suggest doing dollar cost averaging, so buying into these different stocks and these different index funds over time into these different accounts. So overall, if you want numbers, if you want me to throw out some numbers, I think by the age of 25, you should be saving and investing about 25 to 30% of your income. If you can do that, after that, once you're at age 40, you probably have a couple kids. I would suggest keeping up with the same amount of savings if you can even bump it up. That'd be awesome. You might be getting some child credits and taxes. You might be getting a promotion at work. You might be spending a little bit less. Who knows? Maybe you're not taking as many extravagant vacations because you have kids. If you can, even though you have more expenses with kids, if you can bump this up a little bit, that's awesome. And then once the time that you are 50, 55, you should be at peak earnings years. Hopefully you are right on the edge of retirement and you can really ramp this up to maybe 45 to 50%. I realize that that's very difficult for some people, and some people just don't have that level of income or have different expenses that I don't have. So of course, this is not built for everyone. Personal finance is personal. So of course, everyone's situation is going to be different, but that is the goal. Hopefully, if you follow that by age 25 up to age 50, you will be able to retire significantly earlier than your peers, 10 to 15 years earlier, and lead a less stressful life. Now, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for hitting the like button, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.